Good evening. This is Rachel with Infused Meadows, and I'm making white chicken chili for dinner. So, I don't do like everybody else. So, what I've done is I have a pot of beans that have cooked for about 4 hours. If you can see that. So, what you do when you're cooking beans is you put, okay, let me slow this down a little bit. If you're going to make from scratch, if a recipe calls for one 15-ounce can of beans and you don't want to buy a can of beans from the store, then what you want to do is it's 3/4 a can of dry for every 1 can at the store. So you'll measure out what you want. And so I've done 2 cups of dry beans in here. And like I said, they've cooked for about 4 hours. And my water started out up here. You can probably see that line. And it cooks down, add more water, cooks down, add more water. And you're going to do this for about 3.5 to 4 hours. How do you know when it's done? You take a bean out and you taste it. Your beans should be nice and soft when you bite into them. I've only added 2.5 teaspoons of salt to this. And that's because I can add salt to my meal as I'm cooking it and then decide if I want, more salt or if it's perfect. I'm also going to be draining this out because I need to measure my broth. So for this recipe, I'm going to be using 5 to 5.5 cups of liquid. Now, if I have that with my bean broth here, I'm going to be using that. If I don't, then I have some home canned chicken stock. And so for every quart of chicken stock, I only add, you can see I've taken some out for my the Mexican shredded chicken that's what I use for this meal. Anyway, so I only add 1 teaspoon of salt per quart to can this up. So if I don't have enough in this, I'll use the rest of that. And if I have enough of this will go in the refrigerator and I'll use it within a week. So I don't think you need to see me drain this off or measure it. I just wanted to walk you through what I've done so far. I will try to keep this video at least under 15 minutes. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to get that done and we'll be back. So before I drain that, I thought I would go ahead and get my garlic chopped up and get my spices put together. So I'm doing 3 what I would call large cloves of garlic. I'm going to chop this up and put this into a bowl to set aside. You can use one of those masher or press things if you want. I just prefer to do it this way. We all have our own way of doing things. And then to this, I'm going to be adding some seasonings into this bowl. For me personally, I've said this before in other videos, I'm not a huge cumin fan, but it enhances this. So I will be adding 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. I will be adding 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne, 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and then you're going to salt and pepper to taste. Now, I generally start with 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and then that way you can taste and adjust from there. What I will be pulling out of my refrigerator is, I don't have a fresh lime, so I'm going to be using 1 tablespoon of lime juice. And I will also be using 1 cup of sour cream. I make my sour cream by myself. I don't buy it at the store. I will try to do a video on that one day, but it's easy peasy. But it will be going into this along with the chicken. I think I did a video earlier just showing you how to shred it. And it was just 2 chicken breasts done exactly the way I show you in the shredded Mexican chicken recipe. So I'm going to get this done and then we will be back. Okay, so those have drained. I've got everything out that I need. I've done my spice mix. I've cut up my garlic. I've got my lime out. I've got my homemade sour cream. Like I said, I can do a video on that. I also have 4 ounces or 1/2 cup of peppers. Now, this is my own canned hot peppers. So this is a mix of jalapenos and some orange pepperoncinis, ring of fire, and some cayenne. But you do the peppers you want. If you don't like hot at all, and with 1/2 cup or 4 ounces, it's not going to make it extremely hot, but it will be warm. But my husband doesn't like hot, and he likes this. It does make his nose run just a little, but nothing bad. Anyway, so that's what I'm using. Feel free to just add some bell pepper if you want. It doesn't have to be hot. Okay. And I also have about 1.25 cups of chopped onion. And then I've got the chicken already shredded up. It's sitting here. It's ready to go. And that will be everything that's going to go in there. So what am I about to do? I measured out the broth from the beans that I got. And I got exactly 3 3/4 a cup. So I went ahead and added some of my chicken broth to this to make it an even 4 cups that's in this. So I know I need to add another 1.5 cups. This though, I'm going to take some of these beans, roughly, we'll say about 1 cup of those beans, and I'm going to blend it in this. This is to help thicken the broth, okay? So I'm going to put the beans in here, and you do want to add some of your liquid back into this, or else that will paste up, and you're not going to get it out, okay? We need this nice and smooth and creamy, so I'm going to go grab myself a spoon and start putting some in here, and I'll bring you right back. So I've done 1 cup of beans, and then I've poured my liquid to where it's literally the exact same line as the beans are. And then I'm going to blend this, as we learned yesterday. This is loud. Be right back. So I've got that blended, nice smooth consistency. And even though we're not going to use it right now, you always loosen that lid, because the contents in this right now they're not hot, but they're hot. And what does that do? That creates a seal. So you always take that off. You can see, I'm only setting that on top so that it won't reseal. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull these, and I'm going to put just a little bit of oil in the bottom of this pan, and I'm going to throw the onions in and only cook them until they're translucent. Y'all see me do this, so we're going to skip that bit so I can try to keep this video short, okay? Okay, my onions are almost translucent, so I'm going to go ahead and add my peppers. And in case I didn't say this a minute ago, if you don't want to do your own mix of peppers, you are free to use those little cans of chili peppers. We'll be back. So that you know what I'm doing, I have my peppers in, and they're looking good. I'm going to go ahead and add that spice mix that I gave you the ingredients to earlier. Some of the cayenne was stuck to the bottom. I'm going to give these a toss so that they're coated in those seasonings. I'm just lightly toasting those spices just to kind of wake them up a little bit. Now I have my heat on medium-low. That's where I do most things. It just is what it is. There are some things that call for like a low heat or a medium or a medium-high, but for just sauteing, I'm not trying to caramelize. At that point, I would, cook them until they're nice and translucent, and then I would turn the heat up just a little bit, move them around a little bit more. There's a process. We'll get to that one day. The next time I make something that needs caramelized onions. Alright, I can smell my spices. I'm now ready to start adding my broth. So, you know that I had chicken broth, and then I have the bean broth. So I'm going to add this chicken broth and give this a really good stir. I'm going to go ahead and put my beans back in. I want to give these a good stir. And just gently, because, these have been cooking for 4 hours. I don't want to deflate my beans. Nobody likes deflated beans. We're going to add in that bean broth. Now, if you are using canned beans, then just rinse those off, or, drain them. You don't have to rinse them. Rinse your beans. Sorry, I said it again. It's because that's what I do if I have to use canned beans from the store. Anyhow, you'll want to drain them, and then just have those ready for when we get to this same step. Okay? I need to get a smaller ladle. Excuse me, I'm reaching probably right in your face. Apologies. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Smaller spatula. Words are hard today. I don't know why. Sometimes you just wake up and you know that the day is going that direction, and this was one of those. It feels like a Monday, even though it's Thursday. So here we are. Now I'm using Great Northern beans. Probably should have said that earlier. That is, to me, the best ones for this recipe. If you're in the U.S., go to any store. They all carry these dried Great Northern beans. If you're in the U.K., I found that you can get these at a place called, because I bought a whole, like the biggest bag from them I could get. It's called forestwholefoods.co.uk. And they have them. So, they're also known as white kidney beans. So when I learned that kind of threw me off. I'd never heard them called that. Anywho, they have them. Can you use cannellini beans for this? You probably could. I have not, so I can't tell you because I don't want to misdirect you, okay? You see what I'm doing? So this is all in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cook for about 15 minutes. I need it to come up to a simmer. Once it starts simmering, I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. And that should help thicken this broth. You don't want a hard boil. You only want a light simmer, okay? And then we'll be back. I have a very light simmer, as you can see. And then while that's doing its thing, I've gone ahead and measured out 1 cup of my sour cream. I'll be doing 1 tablespoon of lime juice when the time comes, and those 3 garlic cloves that I showed you earlier, along with that chicken. So once the timer goes off, I'll be adding everything else, okay? We'll be back. So I've gone ahead and tasted this, and for me it's perfect, and I thought I should say this real quick. So if you are using a bouillon powder, or even, the already made up broth, instead of what you saw me do, don't add the ½ teaspoon of salt that we added to our little spice mix. And the reason I'm saying that is because you might find that your store-bought bouillon powder that you've now turned into your broth, or the broth that you bought at the store, has a lot. Excuse me. I apologize. That was my husband letting me know he's going to run to the grocery store before he heads home. Anyway, you might find that what you have at the store has way too much salt in it. And so that's where don't add the extra salt. And it's easier for you to add to than it is to take away. I mean, obviously I showed you in a video earlier, if you get it too salty, wash yourself a potato and drop that potato down in there, and then just let that cook in there for a good, 5-6 minutes, and then taste it, see if it's pulled enough salt out. If it hasn't, let the potato stay in there and let it cook a little bit longer. Now is the best time because it hasn't quite reached its 15 minutes, so you have plenty of time to adjust, okay? All right, we will be back. And just real quickly, you don't have to babysit this, but you do need to stir occasionally. Every few minutes, give it a stir so that you don't have anything trying to stick to the bottom of your pot, all right? I have 5 minutes left before my timer. We'll be back. We're back. Okay, so this is going to start stopping its boil. If that makes sense. We are going to go ahead. We're going to put that shredded chicken in that I did I did a little video earlier. It is literally a short, I have been trying, that just shows you how to shred chicken. In case you didn't know and you don't have one of those little gadgets, I don't have a lot of gadgets. I do, but I don't. All of mine are like, stand mixer, hand mixer. I have an air fryer. It's one of those air fryer oven tops. I have my oven. I do have one of those little milk frothers, but I usually just use it for mixing in, like your chocolate milk powder, or like the banana powder that I did yesterday, because my husband had himself a nice big glass of banana milk last night. He was tickled pink. All right, so this now will go in my sink. My chicken is nice and mixed in. I'm going to go ahead and put my garlic in. I told y'all how I feel about it. I'm not overcooking garlic. Garlic does not take long. So even though this is not bubbling, that garlic is still going to cook. And you'll smell it in about 30-45 seconds. Now, if you like burnt garlic or overcooked garlic, feel free to add it earlier whenever we did the onions. I don't. Okay, that's good and mixed in. Now, Get a little spatula. I'm going to add in my 1 cup of sour cream. You can buy sour cream at the store. I will do a video showing you how to make it. It is the simplest of things, has the best taste to it, and it's really, really easy, okay? We'll do a video. Okay? And yes, I do my own dishes. I had, believe it or not, when my husband and I bought this house, it actually came with a dishwasher, and that was the first thing that I got rid of. You do you. I personally don't like the idea of having to use something in plastic that then gets all over my dishes when my hands work just fine. That's not me ranting. That is literally me just saying how I am. And this is one of those great things about the world. We're all different. And the only reason I'm still going in the video, I realize I've gone past the 15 minutes. I do apologize. Is so you can see. Let's move this a little closer. Hopefully that steam doesn't get all up in your face. So, we have a beautiful, beautiful white chicken chili. Now we're going to go in with that lime juice. Now if you have fresh lime, you want 1 small lime. And you're going to juice half of it. I don't. I did look at the store. I was not happy with what they had. So I didn't buy any. 1 tablespoon of lime juice. Give that a good stir. There are a lot of recipes out there for white chicken chili. This is just mine. I am one tiny little person on a big worldwide internet. So, I don't add a lot of the stuff that some of the others do. And that's fine, because we're all different, right? I hope that you do give this a try. I hope you like it. And if you don't, hey, like I said, there's a lot of recipes out there. I hope you find the one that's right for you. And as always, I hope you have a great evening.